From Screen Junkies Studios in the heart of Los Angeles, this is Screen Junkies Movie Fights. Now your host, Andy Signore. Today's episode is brought to you by America's Best Unlimited Network. Don't miss a show with unlimited data from T-Mobile.
Hello and welcome to Movie Fights Live. I'm so excited to be back. I haven't been able to be here for a while, and I got to thank this man right here. I brought him back because he did such a wonderful job in my chair last week.
Oh man, I had a
Hal
blast.
Rudnick, round of applause as judge.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks.
I seriously think I need to get a new job because you crushed it.
No, you don't have to get a new job because you have yours back.
Oh yeah, no,
Yes.
I'm just saying that.
No, but I had a blast. Thank you.
You made me very nervous because you were fantastic, and thank you for stepping in. That was a lot of fun to watch.
Anytime.
Did you have fun doing it? It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, people give you crap because you always say, "Oh, this is tough." Every one of those decisions was tough.
Yeah, you got to sort of figure out a reason.
Yeah, you got to navigate, you got to weigh pros and cons, checks and balances, but we made it through.
Heavy as the crown, Hal, welcome back. You'll be fighting. You know Hal, Screen Junkie Show. So excited to have you back here doing the fighting.
Oh, heck yeah.
We're going to be doing some other, I'm about to introduce you, but I want to make sure I tease what we're fighting this week because we got some fun stuff. We got Best Movie of the Summer. We got who's going to be the next Joker, the potential standalone movie that they said. There's like 8 Joker movies apparently happening. We want to pitch the Jabba the Hutt standalone movie. And we want to see which Marvel Defender would make the best standalone film. So there's a lot of fun stuff. Stay tuned. You can always join the conversation live on Twitter. # Movie Fights Live. So join Dan there following the feed. But here's who's fighting today. Aside from Hal Rudnick, who I already introduced, he's the writer, one of the writers of Honest Trailers, and you see him on Screen Junkies every day pretty much. It's Joe Starr. Welcome back, Joe.
I'm so excited to fight some more.
I know. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a little while. I've never fought either of these gentlemen about movies.
Yeah.
So this will be great.
I'm excited.
We've done some fist fighting.
In real life?
Yeah, the two. Oh, we've scrapped a little bit.
Who won?
Graham usually.
You just broke the first rule of our fist fighting club.
Don't talk about our fist fighting club.
Come on.
Oh, great.
Oh.
It's right on the outside of the cage
Right
when you
out of the
enter.
gate.
Well, the victor apparently in that fight club was Graham Elwood. Welcome back, Graham. Comedy film nerds. They can listen to you and your new documentary, Earbuds, that podcasting documentary. Tell us, where can they get it?
That'll be, you can pre-order on iTunes right now. It'll be available September 12th, iTunes, Google, DirecTV, everywhere. So very proud of that movie. And then, of course, you can listen to comedyfilmnerds.com. We're not as fighty on Comedy Film Nerds.
You just talk it out.
Yeah, we just talk and hug it out.
Yeah, we get aggressive. Some people like when you guys get aggressive and talk over each other, and then others don't. That's why I like to mix it up.
Yeah.
Some episodes are for some people. That's
I
the beauty
can't
of the
tell
show.
what they want. Sometimes we're too chill,
Tell
and
me about it.
they're like, "Why are you guys so chill?"
Yeah, right.
No, but I do want to give Hal credit because he had to step in late. We had Perry. We're trying to get back on the show, and she had something she couldn't get out of, and we were totally understood. I'm hoping to get you back, Perry. Thank you for trying in. But Hal, kudos. I want to make sure people know you had to come in last minute, so you have a little bit of a disadvantage there.
Thank you for that preface, but I looked up in the sky and there was the movie fight symbol in the air, and
Dun, dun, dun.
so I called an Uber.
Yeah.
You heard the conch shell?
I'm great. It was fitting because I wanted to reward you for last week. It was such a good job. So thank you for coming back.
Thanks,
and now
man.
you get to double duty back, and that's a hard one to do. So let's see if you can put the fighting cap back off and take the judge hat off. Here we go. Dan Merle, you'll be helping us. Dan, how's it going over there?
Hi. This might be the first time I've been over here fact-checking since we went live.
I mean, first time I'm here live on YouTube. This is great.
It's crazy, yeah.
How are they? What are they like in the feeds there?
I'm looking at the feeds. It's impossible to read the YouTube feed. It's just going by so fast. So I'm on
Thank
Twitter.
you. That means they're all watching.
That
so
means
that's good.
they're watching. I'm on Twitter. I got #MovieFightsLive. I got that up. I'll be fact-checking as always. Should be a very good show. 3 great competitors and getting back into the groove of things. I feel like since Comic-Con, it's just been craziness. So.
Yeah, Dan, I heard you might be fighting next week as your first fighter as non-champ.
I heard that too.
Official fight, not a Comic-Con fight.
I'm very anxious to get back in the ring and start fighting more.
I haven't seen you very fight a lot, but hey, I think
lot.
they're going to see you fight.
Heavy lies the head. But now I don't have that head. I don't know. I lost track of that metaphor halfway through.
All right, well, I'm excited to watch that next week, and I'm excited to watch this week right now. Let's do it. You guys know the rules. You're all veterans. Let's get to it.
Hear the music.
What a lovely day!
Are you not entertained? Let them fight.
All right, round 1. This one came in from Chris Penn Artist on Twitter. And he wants to know, what was the overall best movie of summer 2017? There were a lot of movies that came out. Joe, what was the best?
The best movie to me, summer 2017, is one that reminded me of summer movies when we were kids. Remember before the internet, where you knew a movie was going to come out and you just were stoked about it for months and months and months, and then it came out and it felt like an event. It felt like a big deal that you got to go see it. That movie for me this summer was Wonder Woman. The build to Wonder Woman was loud and fun and boisterous, and it finally felt like this big end destination where, oh God, finally Wonder Woman is here. We get to go, and it lived up to the hype and more. It was fun. It had such an amazing cast. It had a great message to it. The action was fantastic. It was such a relief to see DC like get back on track before they greenlit 19 Joker movies. And just a fun movie. I didn't see anyone walk out of Wonder Woman disappointed. Maybe people went, oh, that was pretty good, but I'll take pretty good to that movie was fantastic any day. That's a good window to have. Kids walking out with Wonder Woman tiaras on, little boys wanting to be Chris Pine, little boys wanting to be Wonder Woman, little girls wanting to be Chris Pine, little girls wanting to be Wonder Woman. That was a great summer movie.
All right, Hal, what are you picking?
Well, for my money, the best movie this summer is Spider-Man Homecoming. Spider-Man Homecoming had... I'll tell you what, this movie had a lot going up against it because there were good superhero movies leading up to it. You had Guardians, you had Wonder Woman, but then also it had the stigma of like, okay, in our lifetime, how many Spider-Mans have we seen and will we see? But this movie cut through all the crap with several important factors just leading the charge. It was funny. It was action-packed. It had one of the best Marvel villains we have seen yet with Michael Keaton's Vulture. And Spider-Man Homecoming surprised the hell out of me, and it is my favorite movie of the summer, the best movie of the summer.
All right. Graham.
I went with Dunkirk. The reason I went with Dunkirk, I love the superhero movies. I'm a huge fan of them, but Dunkirk to me, first of all, very bold choice for Christopher Nolan and the studio to release this in the summer, in the middle of superhero time, because this is an Oscar film. It, to me, was one of the most poignant movies about war that I've ever seen. I was gripping my seat for the entire 2 hours, and it was viscerally, it put me in the boots of the soldiers on the ground. It put me in the airplane, and it put me on the ship, and it was unbelievable. And it's a big Oscar movie to come out in the middle of the summer.
All right, guys, now fight it out and tell me why yours you think really will be defined as the best movie of the summer of 2017.
Now, oddly, even as a war movie, I almost felt like Wonder Woman is a better war film than Dunkirk. What Dunkirk was missing, while it was a fantastic sort of intellectual exercise in a war movie, it was missing those characters that we can hang on to. Black Hawk Down had those. Saving Private Ryan had those. Wonder Woman provided us with these point of view characters that weren't just sort of like composites entering a war situation. They had arcs, they had needs, we cared about them as they were going through these trenches, and Dunkirk lacked that. It was a very cold approach towards an interesting sort of historical exercise, but it didn't give you the emotional resonance that Wonder Woman had.
I'll double down on that and say Dunkirk was an immersive experience, but it didn't have all of the elements that say Spider-Man Homecoming had. The humor, the action, that combination.
That's a heck of a KFC
things.
Chicken sandwich, buddy. You doubled down.
Nice double down, Hal.
Thanks.
Here's the thing. All the reasons you just stated you didn't like Dunkirk are why I think it is one of the most transcendent war movies ever made, because I was the soldier, and I don't need a flashback of my girlfriend back in England, I got to get back to her. It was like, this is what real war is like. The Germans are coming, you're going to get blown off this bridge, you're going to die. I don't need character arc. It's real simple. Get home. That's it. There is one goal, and that is to survive this war. We also, World War II, they're so depicted as the big heroes, and we saw what it actually was. Young guys, kids, scared shitless. But I'm going to pick up a stretcher with a guy and just fake my way to get on this goddamn boat because I want the hell out of here. I didn't need to know anything else other than I was so immersed in this. And I love the movies you guys picked are great, but like the Wonder Woman ending, it took me out of it. There's a lot of great elements to Wonder Woman, and it does talk about war. But to me, Dunkirk, any 18-year-old's like, I want to join the war and go to Afghanistan. I go, watch Dunkirk and tell me how exciting it is. Wonder Woman is like a propaganda movie to get young girls to join the Marines.
I would contend.
I've never thought of that. All right.
I would contend that Wonder Woman is a good superhero movie, and because of the elements, you know, it coming into somewhat save DC or raise the level of the recent crop of DC films, and it being one of the first strong female-led superhero movies, I feel like those elements falsely lift people's perception of that movie. I would say, well, Wonder Woman is about the quality of the first Captain America movie.
I don't think it's a false lift at all. If something connects with you in a movie, that's not a false elevation. Whereas Spider-Man was another Marvel movie. I walked out of Spider-Man kind of the same way I walked out of Guardians 2, where I was like, cool, they're still making pretty good. They're still making pretty good Spider-Man movies.
I completely disagree with that.
Again.
His friend, who wanted to build the Lego Death Star with him and everything. I don't know the actor's name, but has there ever been just a funnier, more natural, honest, human character? The characters in this film, all of his classmates, we haven't seen that kind of humor and the innocence of these type of characters.
Since Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Hal.
No.
That's what Marvel does. They sort of joke factory. Here's something with Spider-Man. There was nothing, when I walked out of Spider-Man, there was no scene where I was like, man, I won't forget that one. Whereas Wonder Woman has the trench scene. It's got the town run that ends with the tank getting flipped. I won't rewatch either of these movies the way I would watch Wonder Woman, like, oh, that Summer 17 Wonder Woman movie. I won't rewatch Dunkirk, because why would I want to watch it on a smaller screen? And I won't rewatch Spider-Man, because it didn't really bring anything new to the table.
I feel like though, I gotta address the Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
No, the Spider-Man movie, because I had a similar reaction that Joe had, which is cool, great, Marvel. Man, they know how to get it done, but I wasn't like, wow. Wonder Woman had some of those elements in terms of, wow, look at how they're depicting. I would put Dunkirk in the one spot, obviously, and then I would put Wonder Woman ahead of Spider-Man because
we're just calling it that from now on. Can we make an agreement?
On Tuesday, I saw Spider-Man. So I would just say, because Wonder Woman did some transcendent things in terms of we've never seen a female superhero be depicted that way. I was like, wow, that's cool. But then to me, as I said, it fell into a lot of cliche stuff at the end with the big bad villain when it missed an opportunity to be transcendent, whereas Dunkirk is going to get a Best Picture nomination. So if you want to talk about the best movie of the summer, it's one of the top movies of the year. That's why I would give it to Dunkirk.
I mean, when we go into award nomination arguments, I will remind you that Crash won an Academy Award for Best Picture. Just to throw that out there. As far as
my cousin Vinny earned every award.
I want you to use this as your finals. Why use your little thoughts here? But why is it the most definitive summer movie, the best one of the year?
Okay, Graham brought a Nolan intellectual film school exercise to a comic book movie fight, I think. And while Dunkirk was interesting, it didn't give, because I would argue, if this was a what's the best war movie question, I would argue that Saving Private Ryan also gave you the things that you were talking about in Dunkirk, the realism of war, the people that are on Normandy just trying to survive, but it still gave you the emotional entry point of Tom Hanks's character and the talking dog. Yeah. Whereas, so between like Spider-Man and Wonder Woman, these are both, comic book movies have all sort of hit their stride, where from beat to beat in most comic book movies now, we can kind of go, okay, I see what's coming. But Wonder Woman, by a twist that you guys are sort of trying to minimize, just by, the casting and this character and a female director in Patty Jenkins, just by giving this movie a slightly different POV, much in the same way that Master of None, just by giving it a slightly different POV of Aziz Ansari's point of view, makes it feel so much more than just a standard Judd Apatow feeling TV show. Does that make sense? Like, Wonder Woman just elevates so much further. It had scenes that won't leave you, whereas Spider-Man, I had a hard time remembering scenes from Spider-Man. Once you sort of seen him swing around, you've seen him swing around in all of his movies, but we've seen Wonder Woman once. We've seen her get out of that trench once. That's such an iconic moment.
Hal, final thoughts.
Spider-Man was filled with memorable scenes, and Let's start with Michael Keaton. He may be the best villain we've seen in any Marvel movie thus far. Marvel, who's seriously lacking in strong heavies for their films. That scene where he's talking to
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert. That scene where he's talking to Peter Parker in the back seat of that car after dropping him off for the prom. I'm never going to forget that scene. That's one of the great conversational scenes between a villain and a hero I've seen in any Marvel film. That Washington Monument scene where Spider-Man saves everybody. I found Wonder Woman to be a good movie. I thought Spider-Man, we've never had the combination of humor and action in Marvel that I feel that Spider-Man has. I mean, just the humanity of Peter Parker. Tom Holland became the best Spider-Man. He had so much going up against him. And in face of those incredible odds, going up against Sam Raimi and the rest of the Marvel Universe as well, this film became I would say, the definitive Spider-Man movie. It's the best Spider-Man movie, better than Spider-Man 2. Yeah, it had such humanity. And it haunts me to this day.
All right. Graham,
Looks
final
like
thoughts?
Hal went through something all right. You all right, buddy? Okay. Way to get real with us, Hal. I will say this. You talk about one of the best villains of all time. Dunkirk had it. The Nazis are the best villain of all time.
Going there. Still are.
Yeah.
And so the thing about this is you made the comparison, Joe, to Saving Private Ryan. The thing that while Saving Private Ryan will be up there in one of the top war movies of all time, it did get there, and there's some wonderful moments, obviously. What I loved about Dunkirk is he went, I don't need stories about my wife when I was a teacher and all, which were fine, but there were some moments like Earn This, the ending of Saving Private Ryan. I was like, oh, come on, man. Spoiler alert. You know, I'm like, I don't need you to beat me over the head. Hey, war, it's painful and you made it. We know that. We know how awful war is. We know how awful World War II was. And you want to talk about the best acting I've ever seen is literally just the eyes. Once again, the best mask actor in the planet is Tom Hardy. You just see his eyes in the blade.
Go for it, Graham. Go for it. I know you want to do it. I know you want to do it.
Well, take control, Nazis. Take control of your Dunkirk beach. So, like, it was fantastic in terms of so much emotion was conveyed with very little dialogue, very little backstory, but it was all on the screen. It was all understood. And years from now, will I remember Wonder Woman and Spider-Man? Yeah, but they'll be in the mass heap of all of the good superhero movies. I'll put them in my top 10 or whatever, but Dunkirk's going to be like, there's three. Like, it's one of the best war movies I have ever seen, and therefore it transcends everything that came out this summer and in this year.
All right. Dan,
Yes.
thoughts online?
Lots of thoughts
transfix
online.
myself
If you
listening to
haven't
that. It's
voted
good.
yet, if you're watching on YouTube, there's a little card up in the corner of the screen. If you can't
The
see
right-
it, reload
yeah.
it and vote, because it's close.
Reload
So
and
vote
revote
while
on the
we're doing
iCard
this.
on the right side of YouTube.
Hal, Spider-Man's friend was Ned. He was played by actor Jacob Batalon.
Thank you, sir.
Spider-Man's best friend. Most of the conversation, both on Twitter and from what I could see of the YouTube feed, people endorsing other movies. Leanne Summers voted for Girls Trip. Christopher Baker said Wind River. Ashley Davis thought it was Atomic Blonde. Eric voted for War of the Planet of the Apes. One that I would throw in there that I really love was The Big Sick. But the overwhelming favorite that a lot of people mentioned that nobody here picked was Baby Driver. Many people saying they thought that was their favorite movie of the summer. So I would say that is the fan favorite of the ones that aren't picked. But a pretty vigorous debate amongst everyone's selection. So I'm looking at the poll. It's very close. Not a fan favorite emerging quite yet. So
Interesting.
yeah, very close argument.
Yeah, I mean, this was a tough one to listen to just because I think all have great films for various different reasons. But based on your arguments, I was just trying to go back to who made the points and who combated the points the best. I loved War of the Wonder Woman as a propaganda film for women to join the Navy. I didn't see it that way, but I might be inspired to go kick
cool,
some
I
ass.
guess.
They literally ran a Marine Corps ad before my movie in the theater I was in. I was like, and with a woman.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, all right.
While I love I don't know if that's a bad, yeah, I mean, it's not. It's interesting. It's a good interesting take. I think Joe got you burned no more, which is like while it has it's a good war movie, Wonder Woman, surprisingly, and it has characters to hang on to, as you said, helped me. You also, I feel like, were able to combat sort of, well, Crash has won an Oscar, so the awards go out of the way, and I did like when Hal pretty much was just focusing on the comedy, and we haven't seen it before, but then we sort of he called you out. We have seen it in Guardians and things, so I think Joe had the best counterattacks there. I got to give Joe the first point for Wonder Woman. Dan, what do you think? What did they say?
It's so close. I'm going to reload it one last time to see what this says. This is literally suspense. 36 to 35%. Joe also won the viewer poll.
Wow, that's tough.
Dunkirk with 35%, Hal 27%, and those results they changed the entire fight, so those may flip while I'm talking to you. So.
All right, we'll keep an eye on it.
I do want to give
a strong fight.
An honorary point to Graham for Bane yelling, "I've secured your Dunkirk beach, Nazis."
That was good. Comedy point, yes. All right, round 2. This one comes in from Eamon Argio, who wants to know who should play the next Joker. This is actually a rematch from episode 3. Dan, can you believe how long ago was that? That was
my God. Was that
long
like 3 years ago
episode
almost?
3.
We talked about who should play the Joker.
Enough time has passed now that we're up to reboot and do another Joker already. So it's time to bring this question back. No, we think this should be part of this rumored origin standalone that they're talking about potentially.
Got it.
Let's talk about who would be the next new Joker. Hal, it's your turn to go first. Who are you casting as Joker?
Gotcha. So I want to go with an actor who he hasn't saturated us with his performances, and we're not going to just we know what we're going to get out of this actor. I want someone who's going to be a little bit unpredictable, but who's got a track record, who's proven that he could be that wild card, that he could be that chaotic madman that the Joker is. And I'm picking Dan Stevens. Dan Stevens has proven to be a great actor time and time again. I mean, in Downton Abbey, in Legion, but the movie, the role that puts him over the top as the Joker for me is this. It's a smaller film called The Guest, and he is an intense maniac, and just the mania grows and expands throughout that movie. And that performance, it's just haunting and weird, and he would bring that haunting weirdness to the Joker and make it his own.
All right, Graham, what are you picking?
Dan Stevens, fine actor, too pretty. The Joker needs to look insane. And I'm not just going off of the Heath Ledger, my face got cut up thing, but the Joker needs to physically look, and yeah, you could say they could do prosthetics with Dan Stevens, but he physically needs to look like he's off. He's a guy that if you saw him walk down the street, you'd go, "Ooh, what the fuck?" You know what I mean? And I think that's why I go Paul Dano. Paul Dano can play someone who, when he comes on screen, you go, "This guy's off. This guy creeps me out. This guy can he'll be able to take all of the history of the Joker." And again, you are going up against one of the best Joker performances ever in Heath Ledger, in my opinion. And you have to, how can you make anything better than that? How can you make it more unique? And I go Paul Dano because his body of work has been so interesting, so unique. So sometimes he's adorable, sometimes he's creepy. That is the scariness of the Joker, is how he can be fun-loving, but he's evil and sinister and is always addicted to the insanity of life. He loves the fact that, maybe you are going to kill me today. And he's always taunting Batman to go against Batman's cardinal rule, which is, I will not kill people. And that has been in the dark graphic novels. Batman's like the one time I'm going to go against this is to kill the Joker. I should have done this years ago. So the Joker torments the Batman, and you need an actor like Paul Dano, physically looks like him, and can emotionally and mentally play the subtleties of the degrees of the Joker's insanity.
All right, Joe, who are you picking?
Okay, so I do agree that the Joker should not be a handsome-looking man like Handsome Dan. Sorry, I just remembered Wayne's World. And I agree with you. He does need to look kind of off. He does need to be extraordinarily creepy. And more than that, to me, he needs to be unexpected. Marvel used to be our casting studio where we were like surprised and interesting in their casting. Like Chris Evans as Captain America, cool. Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, cool. And now they've started to fall off, and they're getting kind of predictable. Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange, like, whoa, that's some 90s obvious Wizard magazine casting to me. And so now I want DC to take over as the guys that do weird casting, and that is why I am picking Marc Maron. Stand-up comedian Marc Maron from Glow, from IFC's Maron, and from the WTF podcast. I'm going Marc Maron. Guys, the most accepted Joker origin. Well, oh, sorry. I guess I'll unopening statement, and I'll just do some arguing.
Go for it.
Okay. Most acceptable Joker origin is he's the failing stand-up comedian. He's trying to provide for his family. All it takes is one bad day. Guys, Marc Maron is literally that. Marc Maron was a stand-up comedian that couldn't make it. It broke him. It legitimately broke him. There is some dark shit in Marc Maron. That's why he literally has a podcast where he just apologizes to friends that he burned. He's so close to have just becoming the Joker on his own. He was one mob offer, I think, in real life from actually becoming the Joker. And I just think there's so much darkness in this dude. I think if you put him with the right director and pulled it out of him, you get something really special. The same way you got something really special with Heath Ledger's Joker.
All right. I first of all, it's Marc Maron. I know Mark and his podcast will be in the Los Angeles Podcast Festival, October 6th through the 8th. I'm one of the producers. So he's a fantastic comedian.
The man.
And I love what you said about he's a comedian, but it's a little bit of a myth that he had nothing, he was nowhere, and his career was over. He had been on Conan O'Brien more time than anybody.
He was a headlining touring comic.
He was making his living on the road. He wasn't living eating cat food in the back of his garage.
Here's Marc Maron's Joker. Oi, my back! I don't want to fight Batman today.
I'm never scared of Marc Maron.
Get me a Diet Coke.
What is he?
Oy, my foot hurts. I'm not gonna climb a thing. You want me to climb a thing? I got my foot.
I'm like, yeah, if Mark came to me and said, oh, I have a sinister plot, I'd be, Mark, come on, buddy.
No,
he's in a wrestling show and he's completely inert. He does not show anyone how to.
I love him.
He's reading his script. No, look, this guy. There's some dark shit in Marc Maron. I think he,
but not scary or threatening. He is not scary or threatening in any way. Paul Dano.
I absolutely think he could be.
If Paul Dano was sitting in that chair right now, just watching us, I would fucking be creeped the fuck out.
Here's what I'm saying. Okay, here's the thing with Paul Dano. It's called the Joker, not the Moper. Okay.
You did.
He is moping in every movie he's in. He does not have the wild energy to play the Joker.
Wait a minute.
You say Dan Stevens is too handsome? Heath Ledger was the most handsome guy in Hollywood when he played the Joker.
But Heath Ledger had some darkness to him. Dan Stevens, I don't think does. Dan Stevens can be directed to play unhinged.
You obviously haven't seen The Guest because
I saw The Guest and I loved it. But again, it wasn't. The Joker is next level villain. You're just if you want to cast Dan Stevens as a villain, sure, he could probably.
I'd rather see him as Batman.
Right, exactly. But the Joker is the next. He is one of the best ever written villains in anything ever. And the depiction of him is so critical, and it's what makes the Dark Knight film so great, and why Paul Dano is, when you get him like agitated and crazy, he's not going to be moping. He's going to make your skin crawl.
I see Dan Stevens as a good enough actor to go there, to take the mania and the chaos of the Joker where it needs to go.
He just looks like a country club kid that didn't get his dad's parking space.
That's why it's going to be so much more unexpected, and he's going to be able to play these different flavors of the Joker. He's going to be able to cajole. He's going to be able to go insane.
But when you bring up the guest is more like the T-1000. He's more just sort of this like Terminator. But let me talk a little bit on Paul Dano. Let me KFC chicken sandwich this thing with you, Hal.
Are they a sponsor?
Here's why I don't like Paul Dano as the Joker, because he's definitely on some studio shortlist to play the Joker already. If you tomorrow to be like, Paul Dano's going to play Joker in 8 of these Joker films, I'd be like, I figured. Give us something weird. If we're gonna keep cranking Joker movies out until the sun fucking explodes, give me something weird. That's why I want this creepy, failed, broken stand-up comedian to just open up and give you something really dark. Because how would the
He's
buzz
going to be
on
80
that?
when they get to the third or fourth one. I mean, I love Mark, but I mean, he's already too old.
Yeah,
Why is
for
he
an
too
origin
old?
story?
Why is he too old? The Joker doesn't do karate fights. The Joker manipulates people.
I didn't say it. Joker's an action hero, and to depict Joker as a fighter, he doesn't do fist fight. I'm not talking about mobility. I'm talking about the Joker needs to be mid-30s. He's gone through some crazy, horrible shit.
No,
and
you
he
don't know
can't-
how old the Joker is. You don't know anything about the Joker. That's why I like
But
him.
I would automatically know, looking at Mark Maron, that he is too old. I would see him on camera. You can dress him up.
How old was Nicholson when he was the Joker?
And he was not a great Joker in my
And
opinion.
that wasn't
He was good. He was a different Joker, but he was a fun Joker.
Well, your knock against Dan Stevens is that this actor won't be able to do the act. He would be able to immerse himself in that part. He would be able to get his hands dirty and play that gritty type of character.
I think Dan Stevens is great in Legion because he has a supporting cast and a director and a concept that are elevating him. I don't think he elevates that material. And I think with the Joker, you need someone who's going to bring something new to the table and, just something sort of weird and off to the table.
Last thoughts.
Okay, look at Paul Dano's body of work. He has already proven that he has one of the widest range of actors. He can pull off so much. He is the right age. He's tall and lanky. He's the right body type. He has the right physicality and the right acting abilities. And I envision him as the Joker, who is, as I said, one of the most complicated and best villains we've ever seen, and not just anyone can play him.
I think it's just
Final thoughts?
my final thought is comedians are dark. That is why Robin Williams surprised everyone when he did like Insomnia, when he did what was his other
1 Hour Photo.
1 Hour Photo. Thank you. That's why everyone went, oh my God, that's in Robin Williams. I promise you that's in Mark Maron. He's a stand-up comedian. We're all bred from the same ilk. We're all a little broken, and all it takes is one bad day, and I think one good director to really pull that out of him and really surprise people.
If I lose today, I'm going to lose my shit. So that's just so you guys know.
Hal?
One more time.
That's the one bad day. I get it.
One more time. Here's Mark Maron as the Joker. Blow up Gotham. I'd rather eat some soup. Well, I gotta get to. Where's Postmates? I gotta get some soup. Oh, my cats. I love my cats. Dan Stevens, this in a Joker origin story, he is the one who can make the greatest transformation, going from this more clean-cut character who gets broken and then incites the violence and brings the chaos and the mania. I think he's shown us, he stands out in every part he plays, and he'd be fantastic.
All right. Dan?
The question was brought up, how old was Jack Nicholson when he was the Joker? He was 52 years old. Mark Maron is currently 53 years old. So
He's right there. Perfect age.
Wait till they get a load of my soup.
Hey, Batman, are we good? Are we good?
As you can imagine, there were many suggestions from our fans for the role, but there were 4 that recurred the most. The 2 most popular were Willem Dafoe and Jake Gyllenhaal. Will Poulter, whom we used to derogatively refer to as Eyebrows Kid from the Maze Runner, who's actually legitimately good in Detroit, so I've retired calling him Eyebrows Kid. But Will Poulter was a very popular choice. Another very popular choice, and someone who has tackled the, dare I say it, iconic role before, Hal Rudnick, who played the Joker for us.
Wait till they get a load of me.
Oh, yeah.
Hal was a very popular choice. I'm looking at the poll here.
I almost picked you, actually.
I think for once we have some agreement, but I will let you make your decision, Andy, and I'll see how these polls shake out.
Yeah, look, I applaud you, Joe, for the Mark Maron take, and you gave me you did give me a surprisingly good argument, but then I just had this trouble of you do see him as sort of old.
Hal did do good voices.
He did a good voice, and I just don't, we don't see the range to get past that look, because he's a comedian, not an actor. Robin Williams was both. So I think that their attack on that definitely didn't help, but very close. It came down, though, for me, between Dan Stevens and Paul Dano. And I just got a little bit more at Graham. Particularly, I liked when you were like, if he was just sitting there right now, we would all be freaked out by him. And that's very true. I think he would just look at us very
It would be off-putting.
silently, and we would all be off-putting. And it's not maybe the most obvious answer, but I think you did a really good job as to what the character requires. He needs to be off, unique, and all these things that you listed, sinister. And I just think he has that in spades. So Graham gets the second point.
Go!
Our Twitter and YouTube polls both also concur with that. Paul Dano winning fairly handily in both polls. So
Wow. So I'm apparently know how to judge a little bit. Thank you.
1 out of 3 ain't bad.
They tell me that I don't.
Here's a very old reference. Book him, Dano.
Yeah, book him, Dano. Oh, if he said book him, Dano.
Yes, let's book Dano for the part of the Joker.
Oh, Joker, do it. Ah!
There's an executive.
Self-aware.
There's an executive that wants to do that.
Yeah.
Listen,
Book him, Dano.
if you tuned in for 1950s TV references, you're in the right spot.
All right, here we go. This one should be fun. Question 3.
Oh, God.
There's talk of a standalone Jabba the Hutt movie, guys. Who's excited? Okay, so let's get excited. We want to hear you guys pitch a Jabba the Hutt standalone movie. And Graham, you're up first this time. Tell us your vision for the Jabba the Hutt movie.
Jabba the Hutt origin story. I got a
Are
skinny.
you calling it? Do you have a title? Jabba Origins? Or you can't get
Jabba, the skinny beginning.
Okay.
So he starts out, he's skinny, he's lean, he's growing up on the crazy sand planet, he's trying to get things figured out, and then he kind of has some sort of a little bit Joker-esque bad events that happen to where he loses his family, he loses his ability, and slowly has to kind of, because let's be honest, he's not full dark side, but he ain't on the side of the Jedi, he's not the side of the Force. So you see him, just part of it is, I just got to survive. So how do I survive? Well, I got to become a crazy traitor. I got to do this and get into that. And he makes you see him sort of, it's almost like Better Call Saul. Better Call Saul is it's like that. You're seeing the dilemma of, well, I want to do the right thing, but I can't. I got to feed my family. I got to pay, and then I got to, feed this crazy worm that lives in the sand that devours people for 1,000 years, and so I'm going to start getting into that. And no, I don't want to do, sexual slavery, but this girl's cute and I can make some money, and just slowly get that. And then and he's not taking care of himself and starting to put on a little bit of weight as we get into it. And then I see this as a 3-part origin story to get us to the Jabba that we saw in Jedi.
3 parts.
Yes.
Okay. Tripling down.
Book 'em, Dano.
Show star.
This chicken sandwich will be nothing but chicken breasts. All chicken breasts. Even the lettuce will be chicken breast. My movie's called Scum and Villainy. This is, I'm calling it Hateful Eight meets Free Fire. Because what's wrong with Jabba the Hutt? He doesn't move. It's hard to do a Jabba the Hutt movie with a protagonist that doesn't go anywhere. He moved a little bit back in the day, but Hutts in general, they're giant slug people.
Yeah, they're slow. Okay, but I'm just
here you
clarifying. Are you picking the Jedi Jabba or special edition Jabba?
They're probably like special edition.
Okay, so
special
he's
edition.
moving
Jabba.
slowly. Okay.
Yeah, I don't mean to use special edition as a slur. But he's mobile.
Okay.
He's mobile. Okay. You got a whole bunch of Outer Rim bad guys. They got to meet in one room to negotiate some spice trades or some such. And they're all scheming against each other. Most of these guys aren't going to get out of here alive. Who's there? Zero the Hutt and his brother, Jabba, also known as Jabba Desertologicteer. His real name. Thanks, Wikipedia. I just want to do a cool Hateful Eight with some of your favorite Cantina dudes and some of your favorite mercenaries. Boba Fett's there. This is a great way to introduce Dr. Aphra, who's a really popular, she's kind of like an evil Indiana Jones, but for Star Wars. Throw in Sny Stoodles, Cad Bane, Greedo, Salacious Crumb, all your favorite John Schnepp Star Wars supporting characters. You keep them in one room. It's a crime suspense flick. It's all these guys double crossing each other and triple crossing each other, and it's a powder keg waiting to explode. This is the first time Jabba really steps up and becomes the ruthless gangster we all know today.
How?
By the way, Joe, you lost me at Sny Snoodles.
I found myself at size noodles.
There's where you and I part ways, my friend. Mine is called Jabba the Hutt, Fallen Angel.
Wake me up inside.
Jabba is studying in this film to become more or less young Jabba. He's studying to become basically a space rabbi. He's studying like a kind of a space version of the Talmud, if you will. And he wants to follow in his father's footsteps. But there are mercenaries, there are villains who come into his father's space dry cleaners and shake him down and take money and demand payment. And then one time, Jabba's father doesn't have the money. And young Jabba looks a little bit like a sperm, like a little sperm.
Okay.
He looks like Robin from the Muppets.
Sure. He sees his father get murdered. And he realizes that he can't stick with his rabbinical studies. He needs to exact revenge for the cold-blooded murder of his father. And he goes to his mother, because his mother gets a call from his rabbinical school. And, Jabba, you haven't been going to school, you haven't been going to your studies. And he's like, I've been learning to fight. I've been involved in getting revenge for our father. So he begins working with mercenaries. He goes to the dark side and he exacts revenge, becomes immersed in that world of mercs and pay for play. And he rises.
Pay for play.
As a sperm in a laundromat?
Yes.
Is
He
it?
rises.
Okay, sorry.
He
I'm
rises.
just trying to make sure I'm clear on this.
He rises to the top of the criminal world.
All right. 3 wonderful pitches.
Jabba the Hutt,
Let's
Fallen
take them down,
Angel.
guys. What do you? What
Well, I first, what I heard was basically just Martin Landau's backstory in Rounders, so it really didn't excite me. I feel
You know
like
what?
I've
Borrow
heard
from the
this
best.
before, and I wasn't excited about this at all. He's a laundromat. He's going to rabbinical school. I don't see any intrigue at all. Everything taking place in one room. This is Star Wars. I need to see the whole galaxy. I need to see him intersect all these cool characters and storylines intersect. Like seeing Salacious Criminals be great, but in one room, I get bored out of my skull. I want to see him fly around and see it slowly start to build and how they cross paths. Again, like Better Call Saul. Like, oh, there's that one gangster. Oh my God, where did he come from? And where's his backstory? And each person, then you get a window into their backstory. All these fantastic characters in the Star Wars universe. None of them going to rabbinical school.
Space rabbinical school, like their version of it.
Right. So obviously Judaism has jumped galaxies, sure. But that's the thing. Like it's the Star Wars universe, and what a great way to go off into all these side stories and figure out all these backstories of all these fantastic characters. And that's what I'm gonna make.
You know what? It's not a terrible idea, but you said you're gonna put it in 3 movies. You're gonna Hobbit this Jabba the Hutt.
Not only you're gonna Hobbit
story.
it, but you're gonna Hobbit a movie about Jabba slowly gaining weight. Like, oh man, exciting! You know what I don't need anymore in Star Wars? Origin movies. I don't need a, hey, what was that guy's backstory like? Let's find out, because it's never good and I don't care. I don't care how they built the Death Star. I don't care about how Han Solo gets his vest. I just want to see a cool movie with Star Wars characters. That's why my movie, it's not an origin story. It's just a cool earlier Jabba story with a bunch of criminals double-crossing each other. You bring in a guy like Jeremy Saulnier who did Green Room to do it. It'll just be intense. It'll be really violent. It's not going to worry about like, oh man, remember how Han met Chewie? Remember?
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking
remember
about
how
characters
Jabba
we
met?
haven't met.
Who's this
Jabba met
speech impediment
Yeah, I don't
person
know.
talking
Remember
about
how Jabba
berries.
met Boba Fett in Hebrew school? Like that. Like, none of those things sound interesting to me. I don't care about a Jabba origin. I just care that he's Jabba the Hutt.
Then why are you making this movie?
Well, I don't.
Because
No, I'm
you all
saying.
were asked to.
Yeah, because we were held at gunpoint to do so. I just care that he's Jabba the Hutt. I don't care how he got there. I have some canonical issues with yours because he's from a family of gangsters, man. He didn't go to Hebrew school. He's from a family of gangsters. His grandparents.
Joe gets the point.
Damn it.
That was kind of a final waiting. Yeah, good blow and
Yeah,
come on, Tal. That's
yeah.
funny, but I didn't.
I've
wanna watch
never
that.
yelled canonical before.
One room, 3 movies. All right.
I didn't say
Dan,
one
was
room. That
pretty
was
easy?
his one room.
No. Hal said the
What's
thing
the
I
wild
didn't
shit?
like.
I'm pitching a franchise. I'm pitching spin-offs. I'm pitching Burger King mugs.
Joe got 70% of the fan vote.
Yeah, it's with the one
but
room.
I think everyone agreed that these were all Bantha Poodoo.
I don't want to keep hearing you guys spin that. Sorry. Joe's was the one I probably would watch. I don't want to see 3 movies of him losing weight, and I don't want to see him go to space rabbi school. I don't know. It sounded funny, but I think Scum and Villainy, cool title. All right, we got a lot of Schnepp characters sold. Let's go to. What did they say? 70%?
Yeah, 70% of the YouTube vote is going to Joe, and that's pretty easy win for Joe there. I did see a name scroll by for an alt name, Joe, if you can't get Scum and Villainy, which was the Hutful 8.
Ooh, that's good.
That's good. That's a good title.
That's good.
I like that Hutful 8.
Yeah.
Hutful 8. Someone make a poster. Here we go. Round 4. Now, guys, did you know it's the 10-year anniversary of Superbad? Makes me feel old, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
We wanted to ask, fun question, Lon, kudos. I think it was Lon, right? What Superbad actor has gone on to have the best career? At first, I was like, but then you go and look at who's in this movie.
Everyone.
Ooh, everyone really took
Everyone
off.
is in this movie.
So I want to know who had the best career since 10 years later of Superbad. Joe, who you picking?
Well, the guy that picked Mark Maron to play the Joker is going to make a weird choice. I'm going Bill Hader. I think Bill Hader hit the ground running after Superbad and has never stopped. Bill Hader is under the radar one of the most influential voices in modern American comedy. He has either written on so many major projects, voiced them, been in them, whether it's a supporting role in like a Forgetting Sarah Marshall, or if it's a leading role in Trainwreck. He's written on South Park. He was a script doctor on Inside Out. Bill Hader he's all over the place. He carried SNL for like 8 years. And a lot of it just leads out of Superbad. I think he's definitely had the best career out of any of these folks. Some of them might have had bigger careers, but Bill Hader's is the best. He's in this cool position where anything that's good that he's in, people look at Bill Hader and they go, this was elevated by Bill Hader. And anything bad that Bill Hader's ever been in, people go, Bill Hader couldn't even save this thing. And he's Teflon. He can do no wrong. And I mean, you can't buy a career and a reputation like that.
All right, Hal.
Well, I agree that it is a veritable who's who of today's Hollywood icons, all at the height of their powers, but it's Emma Stone. Clearly, you have a lot of solid comedy guys all over the movie, and like they're in like a goddamn dogfight scrum, all on equal footing. But Emma Stone is the #1 actress in Hollywood today. Also, she won an Oscar, and she's among the highest paid actresses. She can play any type of role you throw at her. She can sing and dance if you want her to. Emma Stone is by far has gone on to the best career.
Okay, so you said best career. And that's why some of the things I like both these. But you're right. Hal's right. This is a fantastic cast to pick from. It was hard for me to find a person. There's a lot about Bill Hader and Emma Stone that I like. But if you talk about best career, I have to go Seth Rogen because first of all, look what he's had a diversified career in the sense that he's written currently on Preacher. So that's exciting to me. And also he did the voice of Kung Fu Panda. The first Kung Fu Panda is a great. It's not just a great family and kids movie. It has the teachings of Kung Fu. Not to mention a movie like 50-50. 50-50 was not just wacky comedy. He can do the dick jokes and all that stuff, but 50-50 is a heartfelt movie about what it would be like if you or your best friend is going through cancer and how to react. And it was such a heartfelt, amazing movie that he did. So on top of the obvious choices of all of the funny stuff that he's done, I really go for best career as a writer and a director and an actor. He's doing stuff that I'm intrigued to watch, and I'm anxious to see even more of what he's going to bring to the table.
All right, fight it out, guys.
What I like so much about Bill Hader is he can do these bigger projects, and then he can go and just do these small passion projects. You know, he can do a big movie, but then he can go do a season of Human Giant with like Aziz Ansari and Paul Scheer, or he can do a documentary now. Or then he goes back up and he does big things. South Park. He does Venture Brothers. He's a voice on Bob's Burgers. He's in everything. And you know, you talk about Kung Fu Panda. Kung Fu Panda is a great movie, but I mean, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs is probably again under the radar, which is, I think it's such an underrated movie. It's such a funny animated film, and that is largely because of Bill Hader's performance. Emma Stone has had a big career. It's very big, but I think when you are put on a bigger pedestal, your fails are failer, and your falls, you fall harder. You know, that's when you run into your alohas, and that's when you know. That's when, you know, she's in La La Land. Is she great in La La Land? I would argue maybe not. I think maybe even Bill Hader can sing and dance better than her based on some of his work on SNL. But yeah, I mean, this is the dude. As a table full of comedians, you know, I wish I could do one Stefan. You know, but this guy's got Stefan. He's a South Park guy. He's one of the funnier parts of Tropic Thunder. He's great in Adventureland, and he's proven with Trainwreck that he can also carry a movie as a male romantic lead, and I think
I thought he was the
weakest.
I thought he was the weakest part of Trainwreck. I think he proved that he's not the guy to be the leading man in a film in Trainwreck.
Well, even if he's not going to be the all-time great leading man, he can still do it, and look at everything that he has to fall back on.
Well, here's the thing. The points you're making about Bill Hader are the reasons why I go Seth Rogen, because you look about he played Steve Wozniak in the Steve Jobs movie. Mm-hmm. He's not being wacky comedy. That's a heartfelt, intense movie, and it's about people. He's playing an actual person. That is so hard to do. Emma Stone, good in La La Land. I liked it, but and I think she did a fine job. I feel like there's a bunch of other actresses that could have done that part. And I feel like Seth Rogen is doing stuff that other people can't do.
You guys are going tit for tat. This guy wrote for this. This guy did the voice of this. This guy did this. Seth Rogen also made Sausage Party, which was terrible. These guys have both had misfires. They've both stumbled. Emma Stone
I don't think Bill Hader stumbled, though.
I completely disagree with you about Trainwreck. But Emma Stone has risen to be the #1 actress in Hollywood. You guys are coming after each other in this scrum of comedy guys.
If we're just going to go box office, I mean, so what? I mean, the Kardashians
and
make a lot of money.
she's an Academy Award winner, box office and Academy Award.
But I will also say,
any argument you make can not leapfrog over those elements.
But that's the
you can't
problem with
leapfrog over Aloha.
Yeah.
That movie is a goddamn affront to Hawaii.
And the thing is,
you got to take that up with Cameron Crowe for casting her, and that was a misfire.
The thing about a career like Emma Stone's is that the moment she has, and they're coming, because when you're up top, everyone just wants to see you fall. And the moment she has something that doesn't do so well, the front page of every trade or whatever is going to be like, is Emma Stone finally screwing up?
You just painted a what-if scenario, that may never happen.
It's going to happen. Seth Rogen did Green Hornet, which sucked, and he came back from that. He came back with 50-50. He's come back and done these amazing voices. He's, like I said, and Kung Fu Panda, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs is a fine kid movie. Kung Fu Panda is teaching on a high spiritual Buddhist level, which is important, and so I think that's why he's transcending all of this Hollywood stuff.
But I would say even, in sort of this Hader-Rogen comparison, I think people still go to Seth Rogen for very specific things. I think people have still put a sort of a Seth Rogen box around Seth Rogen. Whereas with Hader, funny writer, funny sketch guy, decent to great actor. I mean, he's BB-8. He's the voice of BB-8. He's everywhere. People can go to Bill Hader for pretty much anything, and he'll deliver. That's a smart career. That's a secure career. I mean, this guy's a utility player, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that because you need that dude.
He's only directed one episode of TV, the show Barry. I haven't seen him direct, so I can't sit there and say he's better than Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen's already proven he can direct.
I mean, that's one aspect of his career.
Right, but we're talking about best career. That's the question. Then Seth Rogen has a more well-rounded career, and he's had success as a director, a writer, and an actor.
All right, using that as your final thoughts, Hal, final thoughts? Why
yeah.
Emma Stone over these two? I've heard a lot. They've been fighting and said she was bad in Aloha, but yeah, give me more to stand up on with Emma Stone.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a bigger Hollywood issue in regards to Aloha. That is, Hollywood makes tone-deaf choices as far as racial casting sometimes. We've all seen it numerous times. But her performances, the quality of her acting, she's been in superhero films, she's been in smaller films, she's been in independent films, she's been in real tearjerker like films that just like wrench your heart out. And she has proven herself across the board as an actor. She's Academy Award winner. She's and she is like, if you're gonna, she's one of the two top actresses in all of Hollywood today. If you were going to cast someone worldwide to put asses in seats, it is Emma Stone. Like, it's just Emma Stone and Jennifer Lawrence. Those are they're the only two I can think of right now at the very top of the mountain. Best career, it is Emma Stone. These guys have had great careers. Yeah, no doubt. But why are they better than Jonah Hill? I mean, McLovin is right on their heels. Emma Stone is peerless in this category.
Joe, final thought?
I think Bill Hader's career will never slow down, will never end. Like Russell Crowe used to be at the top of the mountain in Hollywood, and now Russell Crowe is throwing phones and drinking beer under the mountain. Whereas a utility guy like Bill Hader, he's going to be around forever. He delivers on everything he does. I mean, I would argue on just 8 years of carrying Saturday Night Live alone, people tuned in for Stefan. He's the only, and weirdly, Stefan had like a better emotional arc than some of the characters your guys have played. Like, he ended marrying Seth Meyers. It was very emotional. But then you've got, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. You've got him on South Park, Venture Brothers, these comedy institutions. And then he can still go back and do, smaller series on Funny or Die and stuff like that, because he's a chameleon. He's not above anything. He's not below anything. He just brings quality to everything he does. This guy's going to be around forever.
Dan.
Ho! Yes. Well, Hal, I have to say, you are going to have to look out for the Sausage Party Mafia, because your derision of that film has angered several people. I will say that movie was pretty well reviewed by critics and fans.
They're hot and brown right now.
A lot of people not happy. And then
I was disappointed by it.
The majority of the conversation, I believe, a little confusion surrounding Graham's choice, people thinking that you got Seth Rogen confused with Jack Black. Seth Rogen is in the Kung Fu Panda movies. He doesn't voice the panda. That's Jack Black. Seth Rogen is Mantis. So there's a lot of people that are
small part. Yes.
A little.
I just said he was in a good movie.
Right. Exactly. But people think I don't know if you actually conflated them, but people think you conflated them. So yeah, Seth Rogen, not the panda. He's
didn't
Mantis,
write it. Yeah, I thought you maybe said
movies.
Yeah, I knew that, but thank you for that correction. Correct.
Looking at the poll, I could declare a winner here, but Andy, I'll defer to your judgment.
Well, I'm having trouble because I think I'm between two. I think I just didn't hear enough things beyond just she's a good actress and won the awards in Emma. Whereas with Bill Hader, it's just strange. While it's not as popular, like his range of writing Inside Out and working on South Park and SNL and the movies from supporting, it was all very actually strong argument. If he's that sort of smart, secure utility player, that I think actually was a strong argument. And then Graham, I think you also brought that by just pointing out not only the funny and Preacher and all the things, but he can write, he can direct, he can also star, which is, to me, what you said is a well-rounded career. The question is best career. It is between those two, between Bill and Seth, and I'm torn. Dan, did you have any outlier thoughts to help me here?
Between those two?
Yeah.
Bill and Seth?
Excellent Adventure.
Bill and Seth's Excellent Adventure. I was keyed in on something else, if I'm being honest.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, I think if I had to, from what I've listened to, I think that Joe may have made a more compelling argument for a well-rounded career, but I think Graham was also pretty strong in pointing out his directorial. He does have the directorial resume.
Yes, that's why I'm torn.
Hader,
so that didn't help. Thanks.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. I get it. You were working.
I was.
It's my job to judge. Yeah,
I was looking up who Seth Rogen voiced in Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah.
It's a very demanding job.
It is, seriously. It is. I gotta say, for having the Aloha knock, I'll give it to Joe. looking at the points here. It was torn for me, but then you were the one who brought up Aloha. So Joe gets the point. Just wow, Joe takes a lead. Didn't even see. I don't keep this interesting.
lead.
You're in the end. So Graham, Hal, you need this point to tie Graham to make it in the finals.
Gotcha.
Joe, you have made it in the finals. Joe is on fire today.
Joe's on fire.
Yeah,
Twitter
really brought
and YouTube are on fire because they both picked Emma Stone as the winner of that round. Emma Stone took 41% of the YouTube vote to Seth Rogen's.
Look, I love Emma Stone. I just didn't hear I didn't hear more than she acts well.
I wish
she's acting today, but
I wish you would just shouted "Easy A" over and over again.
yeah,
and I would have been like, "You're right."
Yeah, exactly.
And then I would have left.
I didn't hear enough, but it was close. Hal, you're still in this though. All right. Question 5: which of Marvel's Defenders would make the best standalone film? Now, we're offering something interesting here. If you pitch us an Iron Fist movie starring Finn Jones, I will give you double points because we all agree that's a handicap. Yes, Dan?
We agreed collectively as producers that if you took on the task of pitching an Iron Fist movie with Finn Jones, then yes, if you managed to
You want to go there
that,
and pitch us what your movie is with him? Then
get
I will
2
give you
points.
double points. You'll get 2 points. So, Hal, Graham, you're still in this. Joe, you're up. Hal, you're up first. Which Defender would you turn into a standalone film?
It would absolutely be Daredevil. Yeah, I'm not even going to try to defend the shit heap that is Iron Fist.
Let's hear them all. Yeah, go ahead. Graham?
Mine actually is Iron Fist.
Okay. Joe?
I'm Iron Fisting as well.
All right, great. All right, back to you, Hal. Just so you know, you're up against 2 Iron Fists. Go ahead.
Gotcha. Oh, man.
Double fisted.
Yep. Daredevil opened up the Marvel Universe on Netflix, and it got everyone excited. And I think we can all agree it hasn't quite lived up to the high note hit by Daredevil thus far. The best moments throughout Netflix's Marvel's Netflix run have been from Daredevil. The action has been the best. That hallway fight scene in the first season, introducing Punisher in the second season, his cast of characters, his side job, him being a lawyer. There was the most compelling stuff to navigate in this series, and it would transition best to film because the two seasons of Daredevil have been the 2 best seasons of Marvel Netflix television. I mean, that is almost all the proof that I need that this would be the best franchise, the best character to translate into a cinematic universe.
All right, Graham, let's hear how your take on Iron Fist is.
The reason I would do Iron Fist is because the challenge. Everyone would be like, wow, Iron Fist is the weakest of the Netflix ones. Finn Jones, not a good actor. And so how do you do this? Everyone would be like, how do you do this? It would be when I saw the first trailer for Batman Begins, and I went, oh, God, they've ruined Batman so many times. Good luck, assholes. And Christopher Nolan came in and knocked it out of the park and made 3 of the best Batman movies that will ever have been made. That's how I would go into this, because the mistakes that they made in Iron Fist is, 1, he's not a great martial artist. Okay, the Finn Jones, he's not a good martial artist. All the other actors they've cast and they're good fighters, they're good martial artists. So what I would do is I would focus on his sidekick, played by Colleen Wing, played by Jessica Hanwick, right? She's amazing. She is an amazing martial artist. I would focus more on her, and I would focus more on the lineage of the immortal Iron Fist and the story of, again, I'm a huge backstory guy. I love learning more about people. I want to know more about how he came up. I want to know more about the Hand, and I would focus the Iron Fist story on that. And so the action scenes would have more of her fighting, and I would also bring in some really good fight choreographers. Really, some of the best, because I feel like that's the one Netflix show where they're like, maybe we cut the fight choreography budget or something like that. So I would put a lot of money into fight choreography, and I would come up with really inventive ways to tell his backstory, and I would focus so much on her. And then I would also focus on his relationship with Luke Cage, because I grew up reading Power Man and Iron Fist, and that's what I want to know about.
Okay. Joe, what are you doing?
This is Iron Fist starring Finn Jones. You guys know what I didn't like? Iron Fist starring Finn Jones. Nobody liked it. He's not a good actor. Even the character was written horribly. Like, there's no way you can like this character. Like, I feel so sad because I quit my one job and a bunch of people died as a result, and I'm just gonna cry on my jet. Like, he's awful. Like, they made the Defenders about how awful he is, but that wasn't enough. So I want to give the world what they want, and I want to give Finn Jones's Iron Fist basically his own Revenant movie. Not just plot-wise, where Iron Fist is just slowly dying in the wilderness and has to do horrible things to survive, but I literally want Inarritu to do this movie with him, throw him in the actual wilderness, make him eat bison hearts, and actually break this man in character and out of character so that we all get the retribution that we deserve after having one of my favorite Marvel characters completely ruined for me. This is just Iron Fist out in the wilderness, suffering, and hopefully he becomes a better person because of it.
I would get bored by that after a while because how many? I mean, he's gonna be starting fires with his chi hand, and I'd be like, all right. I really think that while I understand your revenge, that you want that revenge, Joe, I actually think, because I agree with you, it's a fantastic character. And every time they screw up a comic book character, it's when they abandon the goddamn comic book and then hire people that don't know what they're doing, which is so mind-boggling considering this. And I think Daredevil... Yeah, I like it, but I've already seen all of Daredevil's greatness in Netflix.
No, we haven't actually. There is so much we could explore in regards to his relationship with Stick and Elektra. Man, that backstory is a treasure trove. And I'm salivating thinking of it.
But we're already seeing that in Defenders. They're already going through Stick and Elektra in Defenders. Stick got his hand cut off, and she's a zombie. I mean, like, why do I need that in a movie?
Because we haven't had...
Is she in rabbinical school?
Yes. A nunnery. So, no rabbinical school. They're only touching upon it. We could have a deep dive into this one character who is the most compelling character, and there's so much to explore. I mean, how Daredevil learned to see using all of his other senses. How amazing is that?
But we saw that in the first season on Netflix. Like, I don't need to see that again. It's great. I love the Daredevil, but I've already seen it. We got a
taste of it, and we see how he operates, but really seeing that experience and learning from Scott Glenn, who is an amazing, one of the best side actors.
All right, to help here, just tell me how, because it's sort of related to what you're saying, but tell me how this movie is going to be different from what we've seen and why it's going to be better.
Well, you know, something with something with Daredevil that we also haven't seen is, you know, he's an amazing acrobat. He Spidey swings without the webs, and that would be a cool thing to see in the movie. But let's get back to how much I want to see Finn Jones suffer in the Arctic with Mr. Inarritu with the camera on him. This is a movie everyone wants. Like, people would line up at the door.
Your revenge porn, you crazy freak.
Absolutely, they would. People would line up to see Finn Jones have to go through this and eat a heart.
You both prefaced your arguments by saying, here's crap that I hate. Now let's give people more of it.
No.
Like, yes, you did.
You're also cheating, and you're making a Colleen Wing movie. I saw you do that. I'm making a Finn Jones Iron Fist movie.
Yes.
But so what? That's my sleight of hand, because Finn Jones...
Yours is just a long, boring slog. This
but we've already had that
to answer your question,
in the 10
Andy,
episodes of the Netflix show.
This Daredevil would be different because we could see those moments where he came into his own. We can explore that.
So you're going more origin-y story.
Yeah, more origin-y.
We did that.
What's your reply to that?
We haven't done. We have
did
not
sort of see a lot of his origin in the first season.
No, they have not done a deep dive into it.
So you want to go deeper and more specifics?
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
I want to see him flipping around and being crazier. A big budget.
I'd rather see Daredevil out in the woods,
and,
eating his own urine, fighting a bear, than just rehash the Netflix show.
It's not rehashing, because in the Netflix show, also, Stick left Daredevil once Daredevil started to care for him as a father figure, and we were kind of left. What happened in that period when Daredevil was left to his own devices?
I feel like I got all that because, again, it's a testament to how good the Netflix series is. Like, I would be like, okay, if I saw a trailer for this film and put all those things you put in there, I'd go, yeah, I know, I saw this. Scott Glenn's great. I got it. Now, I want to see. I can actually. make a Colleen Wing movie. I admit that sleight of hand openly because that's the character I care about. So if I'm stuck with Finn, then she's the one I want to go after.
Then you want to see him suffer,
All
right?
right, last thoughts. Go ahead, Joe. Last thoughts.
Now, yes, Hal's movie would probably also give us more Vincent D'Onofrio Kingpin, and that would be amazing. But let's get back to just hurting Finn Jones. This character, not only is this fun for me, but this character just needs to be broken because there's nothing redeeming about him. At the end of Defender, sorry, spoiler.
Well, I don't want to know.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, I haven't finished watching it. I haven't
had a chance to finish it. Don't spoil it for me.
End of my statement.
Hal?
So Joe pitched just an unwatchable 3-hour epic, and Graham pitched a movie starring a tertiary character, not Finn Jones.
If it's a good movie, it's a good movie.
But this film, it would be a particular. We'd follow an episodes of his life. We'd see him being raised by Stick. We'd see things that weren't included in, obviously it's going to be different than the Netflix show, and him learning to use these powers. And again, what we didn't see in that first season of Daredevil is the period between when Stick left him and when he went to college. How did he matriculate? How did he become a hero? How did he hone his skills?
Bored in the...
You're good. You're good. You're good. You're good. You got it. Hal, you gave me I don't know what your movie is. It sounds like an episode where we just get an elongated Stick story.
No, it's Daredevil Goes on Spring Break.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so
Which
much
I'd
in that
watch.
world, and you just sort of, I'm confused why you would go back and fill in little holes with that, and nothing exciting, but thoughtful. But so I'm a little torn on what we see. Joe, you admitted you're out of this. You said yeah when he called it a long, boring slog. So it came down to Graham, but Graham did cheat. He didn't use Finn Jones. That said, he did make a very good movie, so I'm not going to give you double points, but I'm going to give you 1 point, because I think you pitched the best movie. Dan, but you technically didn't pitch a movie starring Finn Jones, so I'm not awarding you double points. Does that seem fair, Dan?
Sure.
Oh, come on, Dan.
Yeah, why
Little
not?
help?
I mean, I probably would have given it to Joe because I think that the double points was a reward for including Iron Fist. Like, that's the whole reason you get the double points. So by excluding it, you have not thus earned the double points.
Well, Joe didn't win, though. Joe pitched a terrible movie that I wouldn't...
Iron Fist is in my movie.
It's a revenge porn, as Graham thoughtfully called it out.
It wouldn't be so much for me that Joe won. It would be that Graham and Hal lost. But that would be my
So you didn't like any of them,
There was
really.
no easy way out on this, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, thank you.
I think Hal was vastly...
I would see a Colleen Wing movie, though.
Hal was vastly underplaying how
I
much
asked
of
the
Daredevil we'd
producers
already
if I
seen.
could pitch a
Yeah, exactly.
Colleen
We've
Wing
seen
movie.
it all. Exactly.
And was told no.
Torture or see something we've seen already. I'd rather watch Colleen Wing. That's how I deemed it. Dan, go ahead. What else?
Yeah, that's about it.
Love it. All right. So there you go. Graham, you made it with 2 points. Joe, if you had won, you would have gotten double points because you did give us what we asked for. But I did not want to see that. Hal, though, fantastic job. Will you help me now?
Yes.
In this last round, now you get to put your judging hat back on. You know how the rules work here. 5 more points to win this game. You'll have 20 seconds and a 10-second rebuttal. Anyone have any questions?
Yeah,
Graham,
can you go
Joe?
through? It's been a while since I've been on. Can you just a quick
Sure.
detail?
I will ask you a question. If you both say the same answer at the same time, it's whoever said it first.
Okay.
If you say the same answer, you'll have to pick a different answer. If Joe said it first, you'll have 20 seconds. I'll remind you as we do it. 20 seconds to speak, and then Joe will have 20 seconds to speak, and then you'll have a 10-second rebuttal, and then whoever answers first goes first. Make sense?
Yes.
And we'll walk you through as we do it. Here we go.
Let's do it, Graham.
Let's do it, buddy.
Number 1, speed round. Best fantasy movie that's not set in Middle-earth.
How to Train Your Dragon 2.
Excalibur.
Okay. Joe and Graham. I heard Joe first with How to Train a Dragon Part 2. Go ahead, and Excalibur for Graham. Joe, you're up first. 20 seconds on the clock, Dan.
Yes.
Go ahead when you're ready.
The first moment that made me realize How to Train Your Dragon 2 was going to be fantastic is that the characters have aged, they've evolved. This isn't just going to be a franchise where they're all 10 years old forever. It's a movie about both these characters stepping into adulthood. Hiccup and the dragon meeting his mom. The visuals, the reveal of his mother is so incredible. Excalibur's
fantastic. It came out in 1981. John Borman directed it. It is an epic, crazy piece. There is sex, love, violence. It is the best telling of the King Arthur story that I have ever seen, and it is something that I would consider everybody to go back to and masterpiece. It is top 100 AFI film. Watch this movie, it's fantastic.
Excalibur is so hokey, it's almost unwatchable. I'd rather watch Guy Ritchie's King Arthur instead. How to Train Your Dragon is gorgeous. The action sequences are big, just the flight sequence at the beginning alone.
How to Train Your Dragon is a fine kids movie, but it is not this masterpiece that is visually stunning. It is great for kids. I want to ride a dragon. Well, I want to pull a sword out of a rock and fight.
How? What do you think of those arguments? That was really rough.
They both came out of the gates guns blazing, but in the end, I was more taken aback by Graham's argument. I'd go with Graham.
Dan?
Yeah, I just listening strictly to the arguments. Joe sold me on a lot of things that I didn't understand with a bunch of names that I didn't get. Hiccup, and I don't know who those people are. And Graham was telling me he was selling me a great movie about swords and everything. And so yeah, I went with Graham also.
Is it really in the top AFI 100?
No.
Yeah, that was a lie.
No, but I think Graham was like he would put it in the top.
Oh, you would. Okay, good. Sorry, I heard it is. It's in the. Okay. I was like,
oh no,
that seemed untrue.
No,
okay,
it's so
bad. But you would put it in there. Okay. Yeah. Well, I do know the movie, Joe, and I do. You actually, I don't. It's not my favorite of the two. I like them both a lot, though. But you reminded me, it is the continuation of the age is very great. But I just didn't hear. You just called Excalibur.
Dumb.
Yeah. I just heard a little bit more back from Graham as we're wrapping this up. I agree with them 2-1 anyway. So Graham, you get the first point.
Hey, all right.
Note to self. Don't just call it dumb and then say that.
Here we go. In honor of Terminator 3D, what 2D movie should get a 3D re-release?
Star Wars: A New Hope.
Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift.
Tokyo Drift.
That didn't come out in 3D?
Yeah, and I don't think so.
Wait, what was the question?
Which 2D movie should get a 3D re-release?
Okay, got it. Yeah, Fast and the Furious
I don't
Tokyo
think that
Drift.
was in 3D.
That was pre-Avatar.
Yes,
so that is
would
correct.
have been. No, they had bad 3D.
But not for that movie.
Yes. Okay. Star Wars: New Hope. Go ahead, Graham, when you're ready. 20 seconds.
Star Wars: A New Hope, fantastic movie. The hyperwarp drive, all the special effects that were there when the movie came out in '77. Now I get it in 3D. I get layering. I'm out in space like gravity. It will make that classic story even better for new audiences and for people that have watched it when they were a kid like me. Star Wars: New Hope 3D.
Joe.
That sounds a lot like a special edition, buddy. Stop messing with my Star Wars. Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift would benefit so much from this re-release because it's already so weird and bonkers. The car races would look awesome in 3D. Lil Bow Wow mugging to the camera in 3D. Come on, this movie already has a huge cult following, and I think people would come out to see this. It's so weird and bright and colorful, and just Tokyo in 3D.
Yeah, I don't need to see Vin Diesel going, hey, family, in 3D. I don't need it. I've seen all the Fast and Furious movies a million times. Star Wars, here's a way to take a classic movie and make it better.
Vin Jones isn't in Tokyo Drift until the very end. You're talking about a special edition. You can't improve Star Wars: A New Hope, dude. It doesn't need the 3D. It's perfect the way it is, whereas this movie would be massively improved.
Can I just say that neither Vin Diesel until the very end, and Finn Jones is definitely not in.
Did I say
Tokyo
Finn Jones?
Drift.
You're so mad at Iron Fist. Let it go, brother.
Vin Diesel, you meant.
Diesel.
Yeah, I knew you meant. You had Finn Jones in the brain because you really don't like him.
Yeah.
You want to put him in Tokyo Drift and have him run over.
I'll go first this round, and then just to swap it up. I thought, actually, surprisingly, Joe gave me an interesting, and the special edition counterpunch was strong for me. You'd make it Star Wars better, which scares me, which I feel like you even then jumped on and said it's already perfect, whereas Tokyo Drift is terrible, and seeing Little Bow Wow mug in 3D might be kind of amusing. So I'm gonna go Joe. Dan, what are you thinking this time?
Graham all the way.
Graham? Cal?
I agreed with you with all those, get out of my brain because I was thinking most of those same things. I go with Joe.
Okay, we went with the more fun, don't touch our Star Wars anymore, leave it alone.
I ran out of time, but that's why Honest Trailers was created.
Exactly, it was. Leave it alone, don't put Phantom Menace in 3D.
Yeah, right.
Joe gets the point. All right, number 3. Who should direct Bad Boys 3 if Michael Bay doesn't? No Michael Bay. Who should direct Bad Boys 3?
Edgar Wright.
star.
John Woo.
Okay. Graham, you're first.
Yes, sir. Michael Bay is one of the worst directors that has ever lived on the face of the earth. He's a special effects guy that should just be doing trailers. Edgar Wright could take this and make it fantastic. He could revive this franchise. He knows how to direct this exact type of movie better. Michael Bay can't direct himself out of a wet paper bag. Edgar Wright would make this film and this franchise and make me want to go.
What was the question? Just clarification.
Who should direct Bad Boys 3 if Michael Bay doesn't?
Got it. Edgar Wright can make an Edgar Wright movie. I don't see Will Smith and Edgar Wright sitting down and Edgar Wright being like storyboards and Will Smith being like, sure, dude. Whereas John Woo knows how to work with movie stars of that caliber. He can deliver this action movie. You want dual wielding, you want Mexican standoffs, you want dubs. That's what I want in my Bad Boys movie, not a clever soundtrack and weird Michael Cera jokes.
Edgar Wright just directed Kevin Spacey and John Hamm. He knows how to do A-list actors, and guess what? Will Smith would kill for the chance to work with Edgar Wright. John Woo has just done this all over. We would get the movie in a new take.
They were in an Edgar Wright art house film. Bad Boys 3 is boom, popcorn. That's John Woo. That's Tom Cruise going off a motorcycle off a hill while Limp Bizkit plays. That's what John Woo's gonna give to a Bad Boys sequel.
Ooh, wow. That was a interesting back and forth for me. Dan, though, I'm gonna go to you this time first.
If you're gonna pick John Woo examples, why did you just pick the worst thing that John Woo has ever made in his career?
Because we're making a Bad Boys
Impossible
movie.
2 is a horrible movie. You brought that into your argument, not me. I'm going Edgar Wright.
Hal?
Also, Graham.
Graham, okay. It was interesting because you sold me actually. I don't want another clever, but then you came back with, well, he's worked with amazing A-listers like John Hamm, but then you did, the fact that Will would kill to work with him, it was another one of that's probably true. So even though I was torn, I think, yes, Graham ended up pulling that back in the end. So Graham gets a point.
All right.
Here we go.
Contest, my friend.
Improve any movie in honor of the Knight Rider movie. Improve any movie by adding a talking car.
Brooklyn.
Saoirse Ronan?
Yeah.
Okay. Do they have cars? Yes. I think they did. Yeah, it did jump, right?
Interstellar.
Okay. Graham, you're up first.
That's not where I thought this was gonna go.
Brooklyn is a boring, overrated film, and I would love to see a Model T come up and go, "We've got to get out of Hell's Kitchen, we do," and then they jump on it and everyone goes to the bar, yay, mate. That's what makes this movie fantastic.
All right. Wow, doesn't even need the rest of the time. Joe, Interstellar, talking car.
I just don't think the technology was there yet for a talking car. Whereas in Interstellar needed to take itself a little less seriously. And if George Clooney's robot had been a talking car that everybody gets in and zips around, it would have made the movie so much more fun. You could have had the intellectual Chris Nolanism, but with a fun talking car voiced by a wacky George Clooney. I just think it would have elevated the film. It would have let it breathe a little bit.
First of all, please argue a movie you know who's actually in it. Interstellar does not. That's Gravity you're thinking of, friend. So a talking car.
George Clooney voices the robot in Interstellar.
What?
Tars?
No.
George Clooney, who voices the robot in Interstellar?
Is it? I don't know who voices Tars, but I don't think I know he'd voiced the gay dog in South
Who
Park.
voiced the robot in Interstellar?
Wait, isn't this
Who voiced the robot in Interstellar?
Rock?
Don't put your mistakes on me, Joe.
No, I'm asking you, who voiced the robot in
Not
Interstellar?
George Clooney.
Yeah, you got lost in there. I
was
gotta give
Bill
that to Graham.
Irwin.
Gotta give that to Graham.
Bill Irwin, George Clooney.
Yeah, I
Sex
mean,
and Wine.
also Tars is sort of a talking car, isn't
Yes.
he? Like, doesn't he
yeah.
carry
It
something
is
at one
definitely a
point?
talking car.
Graham gets that point. All right, we still need to do one more. Joe, you need to get this to elicit a tie, to force a tiebreaker. But that was fun to listen to. I didn't want to correct you during.
Oh, wow.
Here we go. I'm gonna name two actors. Tell me which one's better.
I always thought it was Clooney. That's so weird. Oh well.
Steve Carell or Will Ferrell?
Steve Carell.
Will Ferrell.
Go ahead, Graham, when you're ready.
Steve Carell, if you look at where he started, 40-year-old virgin, he's fantastic at that, and look to who he is now, The Big Short. That is not a comedy. He's not doing wacky Steve Carellism. He is showing his depth and strength as an actor, and we know he can do the wacky stuff. We know he can do The Office and whatever else, but The Big Short is where you really start to see who Steve Carell is as an amazing actor, and he's going to win awards.
Joe?
Will Ferrell has also delivered serious performances. I mean, even just the end, the dad in Lego Movie is so impactful in just such a small amount of screen time, and his highs are so much higher as a comedian than Steve Carell's. I mean, just Anchorman, Talladega Nights, the SNL. I mean, he's a stronger comedic presence, and he can do the dramatic work just as well.
Will Ferrell, while very funny, kind of only has one note, and when he's trying to be serious, he always looks like an actor that's about to start laughing, where Steve Carell is living that part again. I ask you to watch The Big Short.
I think Steve Carell's roles are also very similar. The Office and Brick are kind of similar, honestly, whereas Will Ferrell has range. He's got the roles, he's got the star power. Funny writer, funny performer.
Is he in Brick?
Oh,
Brick Tamlin.
Oh, right.
And he was also in Brick, as my recollection recalls.
No, you
Along
got
with
that
George
right.
Clooney as the talking car.
How? That was a nice ping pong match there.
It's a toughie, but at the end of the day,
What grabbed you? What argument?
Graham's argument.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which do you have a part to help sway me? The range.
Yeah. The Big Short, and when he said that Will Ferrell seems like he's on the verge of breaking, that's what I think of. I don't think like I've seen Will Ferrell's serious roles, and just Graham just like kind of broke it down to like brass tacks for me. It's like, oh yeah, Will Ferrell, you know, he did. I don't think of him being cast. I wouldn't want to cast him in dramatic stuff. Steve Carell has gone above and beyond. No one mentioned Foxcatcher, but he was fantastic in that as well.
So was
Dan?
Clooney.
George Clooney was the talking car.
Dan, thoughts?
Yeah, this is really difficult. It's because they both kind of had the same point, which is that they're actors, they're comedic actors that are dramatic too, and that it's kind of the same thing back and
then I
forth.
thought Joe did a good job of better comedic actor for Will Ferrell, but better range for Graham.
Steve Carell, right? So it's like, I don't know. It's a toss-up. I might lean toward Graham a little bit because he was able to pull out one role. I think that exemplified why Steve Carell was better dramatically, but I don't know.
I was impressed you pulled up the Lego Movie moment. It was a small part that was good, but it's hard to compete because you did bring out The Office. You did give me comedy ones while you did. I think the fact that you were able to pull out Big Short gives Graham the edge and the point. Graham Elwood, you won!
First ever win!
Wow! But how about a round of applause for Joe Starr? You came for blood. You all are winners here today. Congratulations. That was so much fun, for real. You get the first plug, man. You won. Graham, tell us where to get your podcast documentary, Earbuds.
Earbuds, the podcasting documentary, will be available starting September 12th on all platforms, iTunes, Amazon, VOD. You can pre-order it on iTunes today. So please check out Earbuds, the podcasting documentary directed by myself. And
good work, man.
Yes, thank you.
Hal Rudnick.
Yeah.
At Hal Rudnick. What else do you want
at
to
Hal
what do you want
Rudnick,
to tell her?
at Hal Rudnick on Instagram. You know, I'm blowing up the gram daily, weekly, monthly,
Oh, I see what you
yearly.
did there. You're blowing up the gram, yeah.
Oh, no, I didn't even mean that, but
I'll take it.
a lovely happenstance. Yeah, just hit me up on all social medias, at Hal Rudnick.
Joe Starr.
You can find me at Arby's. At Joe Star 187, and I'm here. You guys know where to find me. I'm around.
Bravo, all three of you. Thank you for doing that. Dan Merle at Merle Dan. How's it going, Dan? Did you have a fun show?
Dan had a good show. People at home need to learn what rigged means. Rigged doesn't mean it's something you didn't like. Those are two different words.
They're all the same. It's rigged
it's rigged because they didn't. The person
They don't
I
agree.
know.
That's not what rigged means.
That's not
Yes.
what rigged means.
Yeah.
No, fun show. It's good to be back on the couch and this new dimension of seeing people react in real time.
It's a lot of fun.
That's something else.
And I love that they're having the conversation. They're arguing.
are.
That's good. As long as you guys are having that conversation, that's what matters.
They are. Yeah. No, everyone's having a good conversation. Everyone seems to have enjoyed the show. So.
Great.
Thumbs up all around.
We'll be back live again Thursdays, 4 p.m. here on YouTube. And don't forget TV Fights also on 4 p.m. Tuesdays over on Screen Junkies News. If you haven't watched, go give Roxy's TV Fights a try. And Flickbait Fridays, 4 p.m. tomorrow live. Join us back here for Flickbait. We're going to do some more fun. That's it. Have a wonderful Thursday night. We'll see you next time. Have a good one. Bye.
Thanks again to T-Mobile for sponsoring today's episode. Check out what makes them America's best unlimited network at T-Mobile.com/coverage.